Hey guys, it's the Arty Gamer back again for another video in our channel. Of course, grab your teas, grab your coffees, and yes, maybe a little bit of food. And let's do this. Okay, now you know how this works, guys. Let's take a sip of black coffee before we begin. Come on, join me, join me. Mmm. Lovely. And of course, going on my Crash Bandicoot coaster there. And yes, guys, if you're new here today and you're into gaming retrospectives, complete unbox experiences, art and graphic design, and of course a whole load of nostalgia, then yes, you're so in the right place here. So definitely consider giving this channel a subscribe and a like to the video if you haven't already. And yes, guys, if you can handle the Artsy Gamers mess and madness and want to get notified when the next video goes live, then of course just pop on a notification bell, held up by Tails there. Well, can I just say,
a massive announcement.
We have reached 500 subscribers on this channel. What a fantastic time that has come. Because yes, it is the weekend and we often do our art pieces, don't we? So this weekend I am going to be releasing the drop of my Crash Bandicoot piece in collaboration with Tea Break Drawing. I'm not going to release it today though, guys. I'm going to do it tomorrow because by then I probably would have had more of a completed piece of art. Because yes, this has actually been put on the back burner a little bit. If you remember last week, I actually picked up a Nintendo Switch, so the hype from last week was all orientated around that. And yeah, we didn't actually do a Let's Colour or a Let's Draw last weekend. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind time. But you know what? I didn't think we would reach 500 subscribers so soon. So that's why I was quite relaxed about the whole situation. But oh my gosh, would you believe it? 500 subscribers. We reached it yesterday. And yeah, guys, we've got to crack on with this then, haven't we? Yes, because this is our 500 subscriber art piece giveaway. I will just give a little bit of a recap of what we have done here, just in case, you know, these new subscribers aren't aware. So I have a great fan of the channel, an artist as well, called Tea Break Drawings. He does some really lovely retro art, all game-inspired stuff. And yeah, he reached out to me with this lovely Crash Bandicoot piece here. He was like, yeah, sure, we put a bit of a collaborative piece together for your 500 subscriber giveaway. And I was like, yes, absolutely. It's a must, really. He's been helping me out with doing like posters and stickers and stuff. So I think a really nice collaborative piece was really, you know, it had to be for my 500 sub, didn't it?
It had to be for my 500 sub, didn't it?
Especially a Crash piece as well. You know me, guys. I'm a bit of a Crash Bandicoot fan. You know, I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, it really did have to be this. So yeah, then I was like, cool. Well, how am I going to work my art into it? So I was like, right, okay. Well, what I can do is I can actually then add the rest of the box art into this and actually create almost like a little mini, Crash Bandicoot box art, which is, you know, seen here on the original case here. Unfortunately, I have a Platinum's edition.
How awful.
But maybe I might look to replace that at some stage. But yeah, if you can just hear that, this is the vibe that we're going for. Yes, it isn't a straight copy and paste, but, you know, we don't really want it to be, you know,
a hand hardcore copy paste.
What am I trying to say there? Anyway, you know, we did want to, you know, tweak it up a little bit, and we definitely have done that with this piece here. Sorry, you know, I'm getting excited, guys. You know, when I get excited, my words go a bit messy. But, you know, I've got 500 subscribers. I'm excited. So yeah, that's kind of like how we had built up to this piece, this really nice bit of art here. And yeah, well, today we are going to, work some colour into this. So today what I'm thinking, we're going to just actually put a base layer of colour on this Crash sign. Now, yellow is a really hard colour to work with, so I want to give you some tips and tricks on how to work with yellow. And actually, guys, before we kind of, finish off the rest of it tomorrow, I would like to add a little extra to this, actually. So if you don't know and you haven't seen, definitely check out my yesterday's video, where I actually cover this really lovely gaming story that CAG had put together. A great guy, and I'm a massive massive fan of his YouTube channel, and I saw he had this lovely book out. But what really captured me was the art and graphic design that was put into this. I'm sure I'm going to love the story as well, but it really was the design features in this that really caught my eye. And it was actually the pixelated look to all the art characters that really kind of drew me in. And you know what, guys? If it wasn't really for CAG and, I guess him inspiring me to kind of pick this up and look into this style of art, I probably wouldn't actually be at 500 subscribers this weekend, actually. I think a lot of his kind of, friends then saw what I'd posted and then actually subscribed. Actually, I think it'd be really cool if we work some of these pixelated pieces into this Crash Bandicoot as well, and I just thought I'll give some tips and tricks on how to do that today. I would like to maybe work some of this kind of style in. I did mention it yesterday on the cloak there. You can see that there is different shades of green to create that pixelated look. And what I would love to do is actually do a little bit of that with the Crash Bandicoot here, maybe in some shaded areas where light isn't catching. I would like to add maybe like a pixelated effect to this lovely Crash Bandicoot piece here. And then I think that really will be an all-rounded piece of art, won't it? We've got bits of Tea Break, bit of mine, and then CAG's kind of like book here that has inspired me. So I think that is what we're going to do today. What a fantastic art piece to give away for 500. Gosh, if and when and ever we reach 1,000, what the hell is going to top this? But anyway, guys, today then, what you need if you have been following along with me, or you might have been doing some basic shapes and stuff like that, this is what we need. So we do need a pencil. That is actually going to help us work in those pixelated areas with the Crash. Like I said, I'm not going to go mad into the whole colouring the whole thing today. You know what, I might do a lot of that in my own time, and then tomorrow I might just add a few kind of like features here and there. But we do need some yellow colouring pencils today. We need a lighter yellow and a darker yellow, and we are really just working some base colours. Yes, anyone can colour. I don't really need to show you that, but I do want to show you some tips and tricks on how to work the colour yellow, because that is a very, very hard colour, like I said at the start. So that's what we're going to do today with this piece. And then we do need some felt tips to then progress that pixelated look in that Crash. So we do need a orange felt tip. I was about to say red then. A yellow felt tip, and maybe a smaller, thinner tip as well to get cracking with this Crash Bandicoot piece. Oh my god, you can tell I'm excited because I'm stumbling over my words. But yes, there we go. I'm going to set up in the art studio and we'll get cracking with this lovely 500 subscriber giveaway art piece. Right then, guys, so here we are set up in the art studio, and of course I've got my Crash piece right in front of me, and yes, make sure you have got your reference points to hand as well. Yes, I've got my lovely Crash Bandicoot PlayStation 1 box art here that we can reference to and fro from, and maybe beady eyes amongst you can just see, just on the bottom left here, I have got my CAG book here to reference the lovely pixelated art that is seen here, all throughout actually, but I think it's most visible in that lovely green cloak there. Yeah, how awesome. Gosh, just look at that. That always catches my eye. I love that octopus there. I would love to draw that at some stage. But anyway, here we go. Like I said, today we're not actually going to colour the whole of the backdrop in. You know what, guys? I might have to save that for my own time. Mainly because, yes, I didn't realise how fast we were going to reach 500 subscribers. I just thought I'd take you through some basic tips and tricks today on how to get a lovely yellow logo. Very hard colour to work with. So yeah, showing you how to work that today. And I would love to add some pixelated effects here to Crash Bandicoot. What we'll do then is we'll start off with our Crash Bandicoot logo. Now, of course, it is bright yellow. Yeah, such a hard colour to work with. It is so bright, and it is really hard to kind of get those shaded areas when you are working with such a bright colour. So this is what I would recommend. You would need to get your most lightest yellow that you can find in your pencil set. And what you need to do is just to start to shade, all right, all the way around your art piece, the section that you want to colour yellow. So that's exactly what I'm going to do now, and as you can see, there is no real technique to it whatsoever. You're just getting a base layer on your area that you need to colour. Of course, for me, it's the Crash Bandicoot, logo. All right. And again, it can be very scruffy at this stage as well, as long as we're just getting a nice base coat of colour on that will really start to come to light a little bit later on. Okay. And like I said, yeah, I really am not putting too much technique into this at all. It is just a simple shade, and just make sure that you are trying to get as close to the black lines as possible. I am just doing this a little bit fast, so I will go back and make sure those lines, or the colour is directed right up to those black lines there. All right, so that's what we're going to do first. I'm just going to cut the camera, that I like to say, and I'll show you what it looks like with a lovely base. I was about to say a base yellow then, a base coat of yellow. Okay then guys, so yes, here we are with our Crash Bandicoot logo coloured in with that base yellow, looking quite bright actually, but yes, we need to make it even brighter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get your darker yellow, and we're pretty much going to do the same again. You're going to run that colour over your logo or whatever area you need to work with, all right? And you are simply just going to do the same again. Again, no real technique to it at all thus far. It is literally just running that pencil over every single bit of yellow that you've just coloured in. What is also good about doing this is actually it will colour in areas that you may have just missed. For example, there will be maybe patches of white, little bits of patches that didn't quite catch the yellow, and this will just allow those gaps to get filled in as well with your darker pencil. And instantly already you can start to see that this is definitely brightening up, isn't it? So when you are working with yellow, it is very important that I would say you get two bases of colour on. One light, then go around it in a slightly darker yellow. Now, other colours I probably would recommend doing this with is, I would say, very, very light pinks. They are also very, very hard to work with. Peaches as well, peach colours. Again, a very, very hard colour to really get that, I would say, depth and vibrance with. Absolutely. So I would say definitely apply this technique if you're working with those kind of colours in your art. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of, I would say, yeah, background work needs to go on when you're working with lighter colours. Yeah, for example, getting a little bit of a base coat on them. All right then, so what I'm going to do, again, I'm just going to cut the camera and just make sure that a darker yellow has been transferred onto this lighter yellow to really make that Crash Bandicoot logo pop. All right then guys, and yes, we are back with our lovely Crash Bandicoot coloured in that lovely yellow, nice base layer. Look at that. Okay then, so now we are going to start to work a little bit more detail in with this now, maybe adding some shadows and shaded effects, I often like to say. Before we begin though, just a quick one with the pencils. Now, I would recommend getting a set of cheaper pencils and then maybe some more slightly expensive ones. Reason being, cheaper pencils don't go as dark. Yeah, simple as that. They're a little bit cheap, maybe a little bit nasty. The clue is in the name. But it is actually quite handy to have pencils that don't go as bright, that are a little bit duller, because yet you can really, really help you out when you do base layer colours. And this is exactly what I use. This is a cheaper pencil than this one here. And I believe it's worked really, really well just to create that overall base layer that we're needing to really make this yellow shine bright. So just a little tip there as well. If you are really starting to get into pencil colour work, it is very handy to actually have a cheaper set and then maybe a slightly more expensive set. Now, I say expensive, it really isn't that much. I would say my set of these maybe cost about £3 from the works in the UK, whereas this set here, obviously slightly different here. I do believe that is actually quite a pricey brand. But yes, anyway, yeah, I would say this was actually costing me more, about £15 to £20, this pencil set. So it's nothing that's going to break the bank, but I would say, yeah, maybe have two sets, one maybe more on the cheaper end and then one maybe more on the more pricey end, and then you can really start to work your pencil colors. Yeah, so I would recommend getting kind of two styles there. All right then, so here we go. What I'm going to do now is, again, I am going to run this pencil over the crash to make it stand out, but also I can now add some deeper shaded areas where I think light isn't going to, well, catch. So for example, you know, around here where that C has just come over the R and where the R has just come over the A and a little bit of the S over the H, that is where we need to work in some shaded areas. Now, you know me, by now I like to kind of, yeah, create a little bit of a shape first before I start to really colour. Just get some areas. And again, this was probably quite hard to pick up on the camera because, like I said, yellow is such a bright colour and yeah, it can easily get missed on camera stuff. But I'm just kind of creating some basic shapes where I know I'm going to be pressing a little bit harder. All right, probably didn't pick up on the camera at all there, but it will when I do a little bit of a closer look probably later. So yeah, just creating some basic shapes. All right, where you're going to be pressing darker. And then again, guys, yes, absolutely. You're just going to, again, run that pencil over the yellow area that we've just, you know, just coloured. All right, to really start to make this yellow now pop. Which is where we want to be, because this crash sign is such a vibrant yellow. It's the eye catcher, isn't it? It is the classic crash sign, and it is a really, really bright yellow. So yeah, we really do need to create that look, don't we, for this lovely art piece here. So again, I'm just going to cut the camera. We're going to press again really, really hard on your logo, but this time with a more expensive pencil if you've got one to hand. If you haven't, I would actually say then maybe explore maybe more of like a very light orange. Sometimes that can work actually to really bring that yellow out. So yeah, there's multiple options, but I think having two pencil sets really do help out there. So yeah, exactly that. I'm just going to cut the camera away again, and we're just going to yeah, colour this crash logo in with a few shaded areas. All right then, guys, so yes, I have gone away, I say, with my more expensive pencil and just gone around some of the lines where I do feel there could be a little bit of a deeper, darker yellow, and I think the camera just picks it out there nicely. But yes, here we are. We're going to move on to our felt tips now, and this is where it is really going to come to life. So where I have worked in my darker yellow, that's where we're going to work in our yellow felt tip. All right, so here we go. I'm going to bring my yellow felt tip into play now. And what we're going to do is, what we often do actually, is we're just going to now go around the whole of this logo where the black meets the yellow, and we're just going to run our felt tip around, yeah, the perimeter of the crash logo. And then every so often when we get to a bit of a darker area, that's where I'm going to just work in a little bit more of this felt tip. And it's easily seen because now I've just gone around it with that pencil. We're not going to go all the way around that shaded area, but it's where we create that three-tone effect. Again, because yellow is such a hard colour to work with, it may not even be that noticeable, but it is there. All right. So here we go. I'll just do a few and then we'll kind of cut the camera and we'll have a little look where we're at after. So here we go. Let's get that lid on the back there. And like I said, where the colour meets the black, we are just going to now go around the perimeter of this lovely C shape here. Again, doesn't really matter which direction you go in, as long as we are now following that black line around the area you want to go. Okay. And then where that C just cuts into that R, I'm actually just going to run that yellow marker just a little bit, just a little bit off there, yeah. Okay, and again, I'm just going to feed this yellow felt tip round, and again just going to cut it through there. Nice. All right then, and then here we go. So this is where that C kind of cuts right into that R, so I'm probably going to catch it from about here and then come up. Okay, and I'm just going to give that a bit of a bigger color now. Yeah, there we go. All right, and then just keep following that black line. Yeah, brilliant. There we go. And again, I might just cut it through there a little bit more. Okay, and it really does now make this Crash Bandicoot logo just stand out a little bit more. It almost gives it like a 3D look as well, which is what I quite like. And again, we will be adding a little bit more detail with the felt tip in a minute after we have just gone around the perimeter of our logo here. And again, it might not be a Crash logo for you. You know, you might be doing something else, but still working with a bright yellow. So again, that's what I'm here for, just giving you some tips and tricks. And well, for working with the colour yellow today, yeah, which is what we often like to bring. Don't always like to cover exactly the same stuff here on the Artsy Gamer. I like to give you lots of different tips and tricks when it comes to art on the weekends. So yeah, there we go. Right then, so what I'll do now, guys, is I often like to say, I'll cut the camera and we'll see what this looks like after I've gone round the Crash logo in this lovely yellow felt tip now. And again, I'll just cut that there. And yeah, like I said, where it's gone a little bit darker, we'll colour it in a little bit more. All right, just like that. Okay. Lovely. Right then, here we are, guys, with our lovely Crash Bandicoot logo. Now with a little bit of, I would say, a felt tip flair. Yeah, so you can just start to see now that it has really come to life with that felt tip. You know, there's a little bit more detail there now. And like I said, it is so hard to pick up. It is such a bright colour. But yeah, you can just start to see it work in there, which is nice. So I've just kind of, yeah, gone a little bit dark around there with that felt tip just to look like there's a bit of shadowing there. And next to that R, just beneath the R where it meets the A, etc. So yeah, looking really, really nice. Very happy with this so far. What I would like to do now is actually add maybe some subtle kind of lines just around some of the fatter areas. That just gives it like a comic quirk, not so much necessarily shaded areas where light is catching things. It does just, yeah, I would say give it a bit of a comic flair. So that's what we're going to do now, and I'm just going to show you a little tip on how to do that. And then we will actually work a thinner liner. I didn't show you this earlier, but I think it is screaming out actually a thin orange tip to just go around the perimeter again of the Crash logo there. I think that is what will really make it stand out. And actually orange and yellow together really do work. It is a great effect that I often use as well. So maybe not so much effect that you might see other artists use, but you know what? Yeah, I actually have kind of like my own artistic flair, and I often kind of get two fairly complementary colours to just kind of go around black lines to really make the actual colour almost pop and make the feature look 3D. So that can easily be done with a similar colour to go again around the perimeter of the black. But before we get there, again, you're just going to get your thicker yellow tip now. And for example, there's a big open space here. So I'd actually just like to, yeah, just maybe run like a little bit of a fatter kind of, yeah, mark around it that just kind of follows the basic shape of the sea. Yeah, there we go. Can you see that there? I think that's been picked up quite well on the camera there, yeah. And it's just, yeah, just a nice little, I would say, comic flair that you can add to your bubble writing or logo, whatever your intention is there. Again, I think maybe some sort of like, yeah, thing just to come in here. It's just like a basic shape that kind of follows the shape of what you are colouring in. That's kind of the only way I can describe it, really. And I would make sure that they are more curved rather than angular. But again, it's entirely up to you. But I think they just work best when they're kind of like curved. All right, yeah. And again, maybe with this S as well. Just coming in here and yeah, just follow the basic shape. And just kind of give it a bit of a colour in there, which is quite nice. And I would run that kind of over and over to really make that yeah, bit really come alive there. But yeah, that's looking good, like that, nice. And then maybe just a shot of shot of yellow down the side here, maybe just a line could work. Fat line there. Nice, yeah, really cool. Sure, that's nice and coloured in there as well. Okay, yeah, all right. Maybe a bit of a, could curve around there as well. Why not? Bit of a curve there. Hey, all right then. Yeah, I'm very, very happy with how that has come out. Well, like I said, this time we're now just going to get your thinner tip and you're just going to now draw around the perimeter of your logo here. All right, and again, I'll just start you off, guys. Very, very basic. Just get into a bit of a flow with it. All right. Yeah, and it should come up quite well. Should glide actually, especially as we've got a bit of felt tip just at the edge of the black line as well. It should really glide, yeah, onto the paper there. I might even just get it to flare up even more. Yeah, that's pretty cool there. I like that. All right then. What I might do is I might put a bit of background music behind this and you can watch me, do the perimeter of this lovely Crash logo. Okay then guys, so yes, here we are. I am so happy with how that has come out. Just look at that Crash logo. Very, very happy. Of course, in my own time, I probably will add a few little bits of detail here and there with regards to shading because yes, I have covered it on my channel before, but there are ways where you can use your just basic pencil to then just shade, you know, where light isn't going to catch. And yeah, absolutely, I probably will be adding that effect in. And of course, yes, just behind the Crash logo there, we've got the bit of wood. And of course, that Crash is going to be placed on there. So yeah, there will be areas of shading that we'll need to do. And of course, I probably will do that on my own time because yes, guys, I didn't realize how quickly we were going to reach 500 subscribers. So yes, absolutely. And I want to make this a really lovely piece. But like I said, I just like to give you some tips and tricks that, you know, we change it up each week, you know. So, yeah, you've already seen me do a lot of shading with the basic pencil. So we'll move on, obviously, yes, to something new. Now, here we go. Talking of new, I would like to have a little go at some pixelated shading today. I've never done it before, really. This is kind of my first time. So this is just my, initial kind of interpretation of how to do it. And then, yes, in the future, the more I do it, the better I'll become, and then the better tips and tricks I'll be able to provide. Of course, I'm sure there are so many artists out there that could probably do a better job. Of course, people on the computer as well will be able to tell you how to do some computer shading with, pixelated art. I'm very much a pen and pencil person, so yeah, I don't do any art on the computer. But you know, I definitely go and seek that advice if you are looking to do this kind of like digital art. But yeah, if you are looking to do some kind of like pixelated stuff on paper, then this is kind of like the best approach that I would recommend to take. So here we go. It's only going to be very basic, guys, as you say. As you know, it is my first time doing it. So I think the best plan of action here is to get a basic pencil. And as you can see here, their shading is kind of like straight lines, if that makes sense, like a block and a block and a block. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to create that pattern in darker areas where I think there will be a bit of a darker patch on Crash, and then we are simply just going to colour it in with our thicker orange tip, and we'll see how well it comes out on T-Break's Crash. So I think I would just start off by drawing a basic line. Okay, I don't know how well this is going to come up on the camera, but I don't want it to be too like dark, if that makes sense. But I believe there'll probably be a bit of a shadow here. All right, definitely kind of like a shadow around his wrist there, or arm. Okay, lovely. Might just be picking up there. I do apologise if it is very light. Okay, and again, probably around here. Yeah, probably around there maybe. And yeah, maybe behind his ear as well, potentially. And yeah, I would say, yeah, around where his nose comes out. Well, we'll start off with this and we'll see how we get on. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do some basic kind of like blocks here. Kind of like drive them out, some smaller, some, yeah, and maybe a little bit more higher. Again, very unsure how this is going to come out, but we'll give it a go. And then some basic blocks down here. Some short, some thin. And again, just some basic kind of like blocks. And these are just going to get coloured in. Simple as that. Okay. All right, again, probably hasn't really come out that well on the camera, but I have basically just drawn some kind of like blocks, okay, very similar to what you've seen here on this green cloak, like kind of just blocks that I'm just showing you with my pencil there. And I'm simply just going to now colour in those blocks that I've made. And I believe this should give a basic pixelated effect. Probably not as good as this, guys, but we'll see how this comes out. All right then, so whew, okay, this could make or break the piece, guys. This could make or break the piece.
Whew, okay, this could make or break the piece, guys. This could make or break the piece.
So here we go. So okay, nice. Yeah, just little blocks. Okay. Yeah, okay, okay. All right, okay. This could be something, guys. Of course, we might just kind of like get it to come out just a little bit more as it, you know, comes behind the head there. Obviously, you want to keep everything in line. It might be good just to actually draw a bit of a line. This is a bit of a reference point there, actually. Maybe a bit darker there. You can pull them in and pull them out, pull them in, pull them out, if that makes sense. Okay, all right. Okay, you know, you might even just want to add a few little squares potentially as well, which might work quite well. Okay. Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. You know, it hasn't, I wouldn't say, ruined the you know, T-Break's drawing there. I think that's coming out quite nicely. Okay, kind of same effect then going down this side. So it's just kind of, you know, just using that orange tip to kind of give it a, you know, I might just even just come down here. Maybe, you know, don't actually have to be directly under one another as well. Just could be a few separated. Okay. And again, maybe just a few little subtle blocks. Oh, okay. I actually do like this. I think this is a really cool effect. Oh, okay, brilliant. I'm so glad I decided to do this. Yeah, not to say that tea breaks drawing wasn't good without, but a collaborative piece is, you're mixing both pieces of art together, aren't you? And yeah, this looks really awesome. And I'm so pleased that Kag's artwork could actually kind of give me a bit of inspiration here, and that's exactly what I was after. I wanted his lovely artwork here to actually inspire me, and it really, really has. I probably wouldn't have done this without looking at Kag's piece here, and I think this is really awesome. And again, I'm just gonna maybe feed a few around here as well, where it is a little bit darker. Nice. I'm very happy with that. This is great. Yeah, lovely. Really nice. Maybe even just a few on the nose there. A few little squares. Oh, great. Okay, and then, yeah, just add a few here. I drew. Again, I quite like the singular blocks. I think the singular blocks actually really, really pull this together, actually. Yeah, the singular blocks really work. Oh, wow. Yes. All right. Okay. Well, I am very, very happy with that. Just very subtle, but I think it just adds a little bit more to the piece, don't you think? Really, really great. And it just gives that lovely retro look that, of course, Crash Bandicoot is very, very famous for, isn't it? Right then, guys. Well, I am over the moon with this, and it isn't even complete yet. I still need to go away and colour in the wood effect and all the vegetation around the sides. Yes, I would like to do some more colouring tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that. But I probably will do a little bit of work in my own time as well, off camera. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything today, but it might be a case of we do a little bit more, and then kind of like Sunday afternoon, that's when I'll go away in my own time and complete this piece, ready for the giveaway. So yeah, we will go and wrap up in the main studio, and we'll wrap up there. Well, here we are, guys. Here is our lovely Crash Bandicoot piece. Of course, not complete yet, but definitely on the cards. That's why I'm not going to kind of like drop the giveaway video today. I do want it to be a little bit more complete before I do that, so I know that it is, ready for shipping for the giveaway. Like I said, I probably will do it tomorrow, but if not, if I'm not quite happy with how it is, definitely stay tuned, and it'll definitely be a drop in this coming week, absolutely. Because like I said, I actually didn't realize that we're going to hit 500 subscribers so soon. So yeah, that's why I was quite comfortable to do the unboxing video last weekend of the Switch. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh my gosh, we're at 500 subs already. So yeah, but I'll be pleased to know that it is underway, and thank you guys all for your support, because yes, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. All your lovely comments and motivational pieces just saying, well done, and I'm loving your videos, oh, your laugh is so amazing, and your artwork is so beautiful. It is the little comments like that that do keep me motivated to keep pushing out these videos, because I really, really do enjoy doing it for you guys. So again, thank you so much. And gosh, I'm so thrilled and pleased with myself that I actually set up this YouTube channel, because I've had so much support and fun doing it. So yeah. Wow. Again, just a quick one. If you didn't see yesterday's video, definitely check it out. There's some lovely art pieces in this, and it really did inspire me to get cracking with a bit of pixelated art on the Crash Bandicoot piece there as well. So, if you are interested, definitely drop Kag Gaming a follow on YouTube. Definitely check out his book as well on Amazon. It is a definite steal. Right then, guys. Well, yes, that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry it wasn't a full completed colour piece, but like I said, time really has got a way of me. But yeah, you know, we're all here. We're all strong. We can keep going. Thank you so much for all your support. That is me, the Artsy Gamer. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Over and out.